high voltage. So, if you go on to my playlist, which says playlist, underneath it will say Maureen Callahan's opinion of Bill Maher. And this will be the fourth and final video because I sat down, I wrote down what I wanted to say in point form so I don't get off track. Hello, Trevor's Infinite Horizons. I'm going to complete this iteration, and an iteration is this. I'm going to give you my opinion on Maureen Callahan's reaction to Bill Maher's reaction on DA, SA, and grooming. So, trigger warning, these types of subjects are triggering for some people, especially if you are in a situation and you're experiencing DA, or maybe you've been victimized and survived and you have a story, not a story, but a factual trail of events that took place. So, I really, really like Maureen Callahan, and I really, really enjoy watching Bill Maher as well. And I've been watching Bill Maher for 25 years, and I will never, ever, ever unsubscribe to Bill Maher nor to Maureen Callahan. And one of the things that, not, it's not a thing, one aspect or ingredient which every human being every human being every human being needs, wants, everybody with a YouTube channel, whether you are a tenured YouTube commentator, or whether you are a star and plopped yourself into YouTube. I kind of think that's not really fair. Like, I look at somebody like Cheer Denise, and she started 2 years ago, and she's well over, and I don't like saying it like this, but this is the truth. People really look at numbers. Numbers don't lie, but she also learned how to use the algorithm. And she's so talented, and she brought that to YouTube herself. When Maureen and Bill bring you themselves to YouTube, they're already authors. He has a television show. Why does he also need to make money off YouTube? Because that's why people do it, to stay relevant and to make money. That's the only reason I can think of somebody like Bill Maher starting a YouTube channel. Chris Como, well, in my opinion, it was a joke that they fired him because he's a good man. And he's on YouTube. And Candace Owens, who started off, I don't know what her startup thing was, but she started from, you know, humble backgrounds to working her way up. And what an admirable podcast she hosts. Now, why is this subject important to me? Because personally, we have all experienced abuse, um, you know, maybe having a relationship with somebody that you regret later. And we all have experienced that, but this went too far. So, you know how everybody has a little catch theme with their YouTube channel? Wait one sec. Hi, Trevor. Do you like my forehead, Trev? Do you like my forehead? Hi. Okay, I'm going to finish up. So, Maureen Callahan does this. I'm not going to show you the TV. I'm just going to tell you what was said. So, I'm Maureen Callahan. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to The Nerve. Okay, troublemakers. I told you yesterday that we were going to take Bill Maher's editorial, and apparently he writes this himself every week. Every week. Then she started to criticize the fact that the she received an anonymous email. An anonymous email. Well, how is that proof? That's gossip. And this is why gossip is so dangerous. So she calls her viewers troublemakers. And because of the response that she got in reference to what she said about Bill Maher, she said, "Come on, troublemakers, let's start a petition or keep writing into me. Write HBO Max. He owes us an apology." This is what Bill Maher said, okay? Bill Maher said, and you can go to the editorial on YouTube and watch it. This was my take. He said, in a nutshell, in kind of an arrogant way, because he is arrogant. He knows he's arrogant. He admits he's arrogant. So he was basically just saying, as far as the Diddy trial, when, the prosecution um, and the defense are trying to make Cassie Ventura and this other girl, Jane, and then there's another girl and another girl, and then there was the Punisher who is in this trial, who's been all over all of the podcasts. And he was basically saying there comes a point where you have to leave. Like, if it happens once, leave. And so then Maureen had a fit and she says, Bill Maher is here to tell us, to leave. And so she went on and on and on and on and on. And then she went through all of the psychology and all of the experts that I am not going to regurgitate because it's on social media everywhere. How and what is a narcissist? For heaven's sakes, H.G. Tudor. He's a proclaimed narcissistic psychopath. So he explains how these people work. I'm 54 very, very soon. I know how these people work. They grab you, they can smell vulnerability from a mile away. And if you're a victim, you're attracted to that because it goes back to your childhood. It doesn't take rocket science. However, I understand. I get it. It's like Stockholm syndrome. I understand. However, young women today, there's enough information out there for you to read about these types of things. And us women can make this stop instead of blaming men for everything. And that's what I felt Maureen Callahan was doing, in my opinion. What? Women don't have enough agency to leave? Of course we do. And there's so much information nowadays. I mean, I lived in isolation for 6 years and I was violated by a surgeon in a surgery, which wasn't a two-way street. When anything is in a two-way street, even if you don't have agency at the time, upon reflection, heal that person that once was and let it go. You know, if Cassie Ventura was that broken, like she did go to the police, I believe, or maybe she was afraid to go to the police. I don't know the whole story, but she should have gone to the police. But I understand why she didn't, especially back then. But things have changed. And men, do you know how many men can be in relationships they're so unhappy with because I feel like women and men are losing their roles in this world? Or just call me old fashioned. If you want me to explain roles and women and men, please don't throw eggs on me. This is my opinion. And if I'm wrong, and this is my opinion, just like it's Maureen's opinions and Bill's opinion based on the lens in which we see through. So if I'm 100% wrong, or if you agree with any of it, educate me, school me. There's no point in me putting up a video if nobody watches it. And with smaller channels, I don't care what anybody says. It's hard, especially if you're not like a super talent. I'm super weird. Oh, here's a joke for you. So, the other day, no, sorry, a few months ago, I was chopping onions at the restaurant, and two staff members came back to see how I was doing cutting 16 onions. And I turned around and I said, "Hi." And they both looked at me and said, "Why aren't you crying with all of the onions?" And I said, "Well," I said, "you know what? I think God gives us a certain amount of tears, and then you just run out. And I've cried all my tears. I have nothing left to cry about." They thought it was pretty funny. Maybe you had to be there. Anyways, thank you for listening to this final opinion that took me 4 videos to get to. Um, anyways, she calls her quote viewers troublemakers. Um, Andrew Gold, before he became the Heretic King, he had this great channel, and it was called Andrew Gold Hedgehogs. I loved it. Now, my idea was a mission statement, and I called it RAP Community, like WRAPS, welcoming, respecting aspects of people's societies. But okay, wraps. Let's unravel the next topic. If there's any topics that you want me to dig into that you're interested in, that maybe I haven't done because this is such a light, fluffy, non donation, Amazon giving away part of YouTube space, I'd love to hear from you. For any of you that liked, subscribed, like, thank you so much. God bless. That is a wrap. And we will have something else to unravel and wrap up again. Okay, rappers. Bye. Have a great, great Monday, June the 16th of 2025. And it is 10:03 and I'm ending it. If anybody ever wants to get a hold of me, my email's all over the place and it's pretty easy. It's Lisa Rajenko underscore 1971 at iCloud.com or Lashes Peace 71 at gmail.com.